Former Virginia Governor Jim Gilmore is the latest Republican to join the presidential race. He joins a very crowded lineup of contenders. You have 17 GOP candidates in all now, and Gilmore says that he has experience with national security and the economy that other Republican candidates lack. Gilmore served as Virginia governor from 1998 to 2002. He's also served as chairman of the Republican National Committee and chairman of the congressional panel to assess America's capabilities to respond to a terrorist attack. This is a panel known also as the Gilmore Commission, and he is a U.S. Army veteran. He's also here with me now to talk about some of this. Governor, thanks so much for being here with me.
Thank you,
and there's this forum tonight in New Hampshire. You will not be there, though. You, Mike Huckabee, Donald Trump, you're not going to be in attendance. Why not?
Well, because I think we got into the race so late that they could not make the preparations for us to be there tonight. But I've been to New Hampshire now 8 times. I've visited every county in New Hampshire. I've been there multiple days on each trip, and I continue to go back because I think New Hampshire is important.
What if you ran briefly in 2008, you struggled with some fundraising, and now you're back at it again? I wonder, what lessons did you learn, and what do you think that you bring to what is clearly a very crowded field that other candidates do not?
Well, I think that it's the entire package, Brianna. I am a governor, and governors are considered legitimate for this debate in this presidential campaign. A governor has run a state. He understands what's going on. But I have an additional component. I have the fact that I'm a United States Army veteran, a degree in Soviet affairs, the fact that I chaired the National Commission on Homeland Security for the United States. I was the governor during the 9/11 attack. So I have foreign policy credentials to go along with the gubernatorial credentials, and that combination really doesn't exist elsewhere in the field.
The new Monmouth University poll of Republican voters, you have 77% of people who said they don't have an opinion of you. It means they don't know you. You really have an uphill battle when you look at those numbers. And then the fact that you aren't polling in the top 10, so you will not be on that main debate stage on Thursday night, creates another challenge. How do you get people to have an opinion of you?
Because I think that this is going to be a long race. I think that it's an opportunity to appear multiple times, to be in additional debates. Hopefully I'll be at least in the undercard debate on Thursday with Fox. It's a chance to really talk about the issues of importance to the people of the United States. And after a while, the people of this country are going to say, well, look, I'm tired of the circus. I want a candidate who actually understands my concerns as an economic concern, jobs, opportunities, and my real concern about the international threat. I'm addressing those issues, and I'm capable of doing that.
Obviously, your record is going to be looked at. A big legacy for you when you left the state of Virginia was you sort of went in very well as governor, very well received. You got rid of the state vehicle tax, which voters told you they wanted. But when you left, unable to really strike a budget deal, there was a big budget shortfall, and that was part of your legacy. Knowing that your record will be scrutinized as if you are to gain more attention, what do you say to voters?
I would say that if I had had a chance to serve, Virginia only gets 1 term. If I had had a chance to serve in the 2nd term, there wouldn't have been a budget shortfall. We simply would have constructed a budget that actually delivered on the promise of the car tax cut. But it wasn't just to keep a legacy. It was to actually deliver value to working people, a real tax cut. Now, I'm telling you now that the problem we're facing in the United States today is that the economy is dragging and that people don't have the opportunities that they need, and an appropriate tax reform policy can revitalize this economy, get our growth up, get our wages up, and give people a real chance for a real future in this country.
How do you take on an opponent like Donald Trump?
Well, I'm not concerned about Donald Trump. I'm more concerned about the opportunity, as you have said, to get my ideas out there, the idea of revitalizing the economy and the deep experience I have to address the international crisis. And it's very real. The danger of the United States is very serious. We have multiple challenges at this point because of the weakness of the Obama-Clinton foreign policy. The Obama-Clinton foreign policy has made a dangerous world more dangerous. I believe I can reverse the American decline and get America back on the upswing, both in terms of jobs and opportunity and foreign policy.
You say your executive experience as governor matters a lot. There's a number of governors in the race, including Jeb Bush. I want to ask you about his immigration proposal just out today. He said he would crack down on sanctuary cities, local cities that don't enforce federal immigration laws. He would beef up security at the border with more bases, new roads for patrol. He would kick out immigrants who have overstayed their visas and have a biometric exit system. What do you think of that?
Well, I certainly think he's right about sanctuary cities, and I know that we have to secure the border. I'm a little taken aback by his position that he wants to deport 5 million people who've overstayed their visas, because his signature issue for years has been amnesty. The JEB has been about amnesty and immigration. So I think he's trying to have it both ways. This is kind of both-way JEB now. And the question really is, if he can take a signature issue that he's cared about so much, which is amnesty for illegal aliens, and then turn around on a dime and today say something entirely differently, what's he going to do as president? Can he be really trusted to carry out the things that he says he's going to do on the campaign trail? I think he's kind of looking at Trump's numbers, and he's seen the light, but the light is Trump's poll numbers.
All right, Governor Gilmore, thanks so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Brianna.
And to learn more about Governor Jim Gilmore and all of the presidential contenders, 16 more of them, just head over to cnnpolitics.com.